Howdy, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Monday and you had a great Easter Sunday. So we are looking at Monday, the 6th of April, as far as our rune spread is concerned for today. I did the weekly spread yesterday, and it's not a good week. It's not a good week, energetically speaking, because it's speaking entirely about a karmic in our lives, and it's talking about some of the harsh judgment that's coming down on them. Everything from loss of a divine link to the wrath of God to a severing of ties and everything else. So pretty harsh, pretty harsh. So start off with the overall energy for the week. This is for the entire week, and this is Othala in the reverse. Okay. Now, Othala in the reverse typically stands for recklessness and frustrations, legal problems, things of that nature, hassles, lack of order, totalitarianism, slavery, homelessness, poverty, prejudice, bad karma. So, if you know somebody that's in your life, and this may or may not apply to all of you out there, of course. I know this applies to in my life, okay? So when they're saying things such as racism and prejudice, I can pretty much zero in on precisely who it is. Now, the totalitarianism, the poverty, the homelessness, the bad karma, all those other things very well could, be part of their karma in this case, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at here, both for the week and each individual day. So what is the present energy? Well, the present energy for today is that of Laguz in the reverse. Now, Laguz in the upright typically talks about things of psychic nature, things that are water-based. And water is always, just endemic, if you will, of emotions in terms of divination. So what it means in the reverse is basically greed, temptations, wanting to escape, acting against one's own conscience, a period of confusion, indeed. Somebody who's making poor judgments and wrong decisions. Somebody who's lost their creativity, may be in despair, fear, an avoidant attachment personality. That's who this may also be talking about. They may be suffering from a mild form of madness and obsession, despair, perversity, sickness, and unfortunately suicide as well is listed in this particular reading. This energy in the reverse is not a good place to be in. So if this is your state of mind, and I'm talking to the karmics out there, this is not applying to my collective. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have off days. We all do. But what I'm saying here is somebody that's now paying the price for their sin, paying the price for their not listening to reason, not listening to their intuition, not listening to their guides, not listening to the Most High and the multitude of warnings that they've gotten over a long period of time. They thought they could write the rules. They've gotten away with it all this time. Why aren't they getting away with it now? It's their way of thinking. And it's unfortunate that they're thinking that way. Instead of trying to correct their mistakes, they're only angry that they got caught. It's just the way some people are. Now, this is why I know I'm not talking to my collective. My collective has risen above those kinds of things. Not to say we're completely invincible to moments of ego or pride or whatever the case may be, but for the most part, what I'm referring to is somebody who's had a long string with no sense whatsoever of, trying to look deeply into, the things that they're doing and trying to correct them. Doesn't seem to be that big of a concern. Although they're reconsidering that because of the things that are happening to them now. So our past energy, or that energy that we pulled yesterday for today, is that of Yera. And Yara also is in the reverse. So, and it could mean something like fruition. It cannot be expedited, okay? It happens when it's meant to happen. God's timing, not our timing, kind of a thing. But it also talks about bad timing, okay? A time of change, unexpected change, major changes. And of course, again, poverty and conflict. So I do have empathy for whoever this is addressing. I've been in these situations myself, so I know what it's like. And I know it's not comfortable. It's not fun. And the fact that you end up with a million questions and no answers for quite a long period of time certainly do not make that transition any easier, or make it easier to transmute that negative energy into something more positive. Now, I started my website when I was basically homeless, so it can be done. And this is not beating on anybody who's going through that currently and just doesn't know what they're going to do with themselves. I'm still moving up, okay? I'm still increasing, or I'm trying to get my feet back on the ground. I've been stable and I've managed to take care of everybody else as well as me for most of my life. And then, after everybody's gone, now it just seems like the rug has been, for whatever reason, pulled out from underneath me. But it's all part of the test. It's all part of the learning that, we either accept or reject while we're here in this life. And I've chosen to accept it and to grow from it. So our obstacles and our challenges for today is that of Berkana. And Berkana is, although it seems upright there in that picture, it's actually in the reverse. Okay, so that's the way it would look. In reverse. So another powerful rune in the reverse. Now, Berkana in the reverse, often it talks about or denotes the goddess Birchta, which is just one of several different names. But the Great Mother, you can look at her as something like Mother Nature in a sense. She's affiliated with animals as well as horticulture. Also, ushers in and guides, children and women in terms of the afterlife, things like that. All right. So, Berkana in the reverse talks about family issues, talks about domestic issues. So, it could be your brothers, sisters, brothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, that kind of a thing. Or it could literally be your husband or your wife, your child, whatever the case may be. But that's what it talks about. It talks about those types of situations. And also anxiety over people that are close to us in regards to our family. It talks about family needs and issues. Maybe we don't have enough to care for them. We've already seen homelessness, we've seen poverty, things of that nature, so maybe you're not able to take care of your child right now. I was fortunate in that I always had enough to take care of my kids, although, I didn't have much left over, obviously. 4 kids is a lot. So, and I didn't get any help from their mom. But the point of the matter is that if you're going through that and you have children, you've just compiled, a whole lot more burden upon yourself than I myself had to go through in regards to that. Homelessness by itself is not an easy ordeal. Things of that nature happen. We're not prepared, no matter how much we think we're prepared. But with a child, it's far worse. So you have whatever you need from me. If you need my time, you need to talk to me about it. If you're one of the people going through this, that's fine. It is. That's why I'm here. Alright, now in terms of our health and let me finish up the obstacles and challenges. It talks about all the different domestic and family issues that you can imagine. It also talks about loss of control, abandon, carelessness, which are warnings to you not to act impetuously. It also talks about deception, being deceived or deceiving others. And it talks about stagnation, not making a move because you're thinking about it and not doing anything about it. It also talks about sterility. So, I don't know. If that's your case, again, you have my sympathies. Some people don't want to have children, and that wouldn't be a negative for them, but other people are greatly, greatly affected by the idea of not being able to produce a child in this life. And I get both sides. So now our help and advice, fortunately, is that of Uruk. Now Uruk is exactly that. It's about strength, strength of an ox, tenacity, courage. Talks about one's vitality. And it's especially in terms of masculinity, it talks about male sexuality, desire, arousal, desire, all those types of things. So it's all very, very positive. It talks about action and energy and courage. Talks about your health, of course, how you, through your own will, have the ability to formulate or create yourself. So all those things are part of Urus as far as our help and advice. And our future outcome is, again, Laguz, but this time Laguz is in the upright. So we're talking about things that are of water nature, creeks, streams, lakes, rivers, oceans, the movement of water, the flow, or even the leaking of water. But it also speaks again in terms of emotions, water emotions, you know. So it talks about things like the deep and emotions and dreams, basically psychic abilities, psychic, powers. It talks about your intuition. It talks about the healing power and renewal. Uh, talks about one's fantasies and the mysteries, those things which are hidden. It also talks about success in one's travels and in acquisition if you're looking to acquire something. This is a perfect time to do it. So the future outcome is precisely the opposite of what the present energy is. And present energy is Laguz in the reverse, but the future energy is Laguz in the upright. So again, that requires you to use your intuition, your God-given intuition, and to move based on those intuitive sparks. Okay, so that's what we see here for Monday. We see, a lot of talk about hassles and confusion. We see a lot of talk about family issues, domestic issues and problems, avoidance. We talk about, stagnation. We talk about poverty and homelessness. But we're also talking about good health, courage, tenacity, male sexuality, and one's psychic abilities being utilized in overcoming this negative energy, or can be used to overcome this negative energy. So it's not all, the end of the world for whoever this reading is for today, Monday. The weekly reading certainly did discuss quite a bit about a very, very difficult time for somebody with everything from, again, the divine, basically cutting ties with them, loss of the divine link, divine wrath, wrath of God. All these things were spoken about in this weekly read, so it's pretty serious for somebody out there. And even if you are very deserving of this retribution, which I'm sure you are if you're experiencing it, and this is not to cut you down or anything of that nature, we all go through it, all of us. A lot of us, sometimes we experience things and we think they're punishments when in fact they're not, but we can't see that till it's been processed all the way through, and I would invite you to consider that as well as you're going through your time of trial, tribulation, okay? I can't just give you false hope, and I'm not going to give you a bunch of friggin' watered down possibilities or whatever. I can only tell you what I can see here. And it's not a positive thing, but you can prepare yourself and you can accept responsibility where it is that you need to accept it and try to make things right. Right with your guides, right with Most High, right with those you've wronged. Do that and watch things change. Because if you don't do that, it's only going to get harder and it's going to get worse, not better. No, for what it's worth. Alright, so on Tuesday, Sereno. Oh, shit.